Congressman. We now have not one unprecedented move by the Dems. We have two. Tell us about those.
Well, this is just 2 in 2 days. We've done a lot more than that over time. But these are two low water marks in the history of the country. The first one is in the body itself, and that's where the people in charge, the majority, is coming in, and they're going to vote on removing a committee member from a minority committee member. And what that means is, in this instance, the Democrats are saying, we don't like Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia. We think she's a nut. She said some kooky things. We're going to remove her from her committees. Guess what? That's never been done in the history of America. Never. So then the other beauty is that we're going to vote sometime when the Senate finishes rolling through it. We're going to vote on a $2 trillion budget package that's never gone to the budget. Didn't go to a budget committee. People say, what's in the budget? Well, I can give you a rough estimate because we've heard roughness on it, but we haven't seen it, right? Because it never went to committee. Well,
didn't Speaker Pelosi, didn't she tell us that that's the way it goes? You have to pass it to find out what's in it?
Yeah. I guess so. And she's holding true to her words. I mean, this is what you're saying. And then I'm sitting in the Capitol building, surrounded by fencing and barbed wire and thousands of troops, when there's no threat. There's no threat right now. There hasn't been a threat since the inauguration. I get it. You're going to do inauguration, but she wants it up for because just like she's trying to arrogate power and control here, they're doing power and control. She wants to project that power and control. And, you couple that with Joe Biden issuing almost 50 executive orders in 15 days, and you go, okay, we may have actually lost the republic.
That's scary. You're a sitting United States congressman, and I just want to let that sink in what you just said there.
Yeah.
How do you crawl back? How do you stand up? What do we do?
Well, so what we can do in Congress, and we did a little bit of this today, and this is technical, and people don't really think this does enough, but it actually does some, is we're trying to make it painful on the Democrats procedurally. We're using every procedural move we can to make it painful on the Democrats as they try to force these types of things through. That's step one. Step two is we have to, sad to say, we have to rely in some respects on the Senate and work with our Senate colleagues to make sure that they make it very difficult. Because right now Joe Manchin's the most powerful person in Washington, D.C., because he said he's not going to just do everything on a party line vote. So that means that if Republicans keep their 50 and the Democrats keep their 49, Joe Manchin gets to decide what passes and what doesn't pass. That's why he's so powerful. So you got to get Joe Manchin motivated your way. And then I guess the other thing is we need the state legislatures and we need the citizens to continue to be expressions, be voices, to be loud and express themselves peacefully, always peacefully, in ways that we understand and that our colleagues can all understand where they're coming from.
But legislatively, Congressman Biggs, legislatively, you're talking about gumming up the works, making it painful. How in the world do you keep up with that? I mean, we're talking about almost 50 executive orders in 2 weeks in office. How do you separate one from the other and keep up with it so you can hopefully represent us and gum up the works a bit?
Well, first of all, you got to have good staff, right? I mean, you got to have good staff that's keeping you up to date on all of this stuff, and then of course. That's what Freedom Caucus is designed to do. I mean, we're good gear jammers. That's really one of the good things that we do. So we keep throwing down speed sticks. A lot of people aren't even going to see any of that stuff, but there'll be pain inflicted. The problem with it is usually for us to inflict pain, we inflict pain on ourselves too. So we inconvenience them or for something. We require extra votes. We inconvenience them in a way that they don't like. But, you've got some establishment folks, they don't really like it either. And so we keep, but you know what? The bummer is 99 times out of 100, we're going to lose anyway after we've inflicted all that pain because they've got the majority.
How do you win the messaging battle, Congressman? Because you're talking about sitting behind a fence right now in Washington, D.C. that's still up. It's been up now for a month. And Congressman Andy Biggs behind it. You just went down to the border last week. We got to meet up with you last weekend. We talked a little bit about that off record here. But you have no fence. Biden canceled that fence. Democrats want to build this fence. It's obviously hypocritical, but that message doesn't seem to land.
Capital, but not on the border. I mean, we have to try to make quick messages and push forward and repeat it. It's got to be on my social media. It's got to be when I talk to you guys or when I go on TV or wherever. We have to make sure that my colleagues are saying the same thing. And right now, I will just tell you that what the Democrats are doing is they are sending a lot of stuff our way, and it's all bad. And we have to get disciplined on our narrative, because the narrative is what we want to do is what we think most Americans want. They want less government intrusion in their lives. They want fewer taxes. They want less regulation. They want to get back to normalcy as much as possible with their businesses and their lives, regardless of the COVID. And we can do that. They do want a secure border. They do want. Most Americans are pro-life now. They want that. So we got to continue our messaging, and we have got to continue to try to deliver on promises that we made. We're not going to be able to do much in the minority. That's just the unfortunate way a majoritarian type of Congress works. But we can do all we can to hinder. And look, we're doing everything like talk to lawyers about litigation, et cetera. I mean, we're trying to make this a multi-pronged approach to protect America as much as we possibly can, while the Democrats are trying to run roughshod over our country and change it forever from what we know it to be.
And Congressman Biggs, this seems to be in the trenches. A lot of that is in the trench work. But what we get to see from the outside are arguments between Congresswoman Mason and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That seems to be what the nation is focusing on, the Marjorie Taylor Greens and those votes, and who was where on January 6th and who can tweet the most. How do you get the message of America and freedom up above that and basically announce to this nation that it's being stolen from us?
Well, we have to keep, repetitively keep talking about it, express it, and we've got to be disciplined. And then I just be honest with you, Republicans, we can be, and then Democrats too, but we can be easily distracted. We get caught up on it. I mean, I don't like the mask mandates. I could spend all my time talking about mask mandates, and to me that in some ways that's symbolic of a fascist, totalitarian state. And people think that's kooky, but look at what they're doing. We were going to have to wear masks for 2 weeks, and we've been wearing masks for 10 months. The reality is, we need to continue to talk about, in my opinion, and the way we beat this thing over is the thing that Republicans are really bad about. We need to talk about stories. I need to talk about the individual who the two little boys who were being rented by cartels for the family policy that President Trump that President Trump had a policy, and he was trying to stop these unaccompanied minors being used and human trafficked. And these two little boys are caught, and they're being rented over and over again by men, single men, adults, who knew that if they brought a kid to the border, they're going to get back in. Guess what? That policy, we just considered that policy in one of my committees today. They're back at it. They're willing to do that again. They're trying to do that. That's what Joe Biden did with one of his executive orders. Human trafficking is going to go up. Sex trafficking is going to go up. Drug trafficking is all going to go up. We've got to be disciplined and make those things and talk about stories about the people, because there are real people who are harmed by the Democrat policies. And how about those Keystone Pipeline guy? I mean, there's several of them. Tens of thousands of them, but several of them are willing to come out and say, look, I'm losing everything because of Joe Biden's policies.
Right.